The new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, is staring down his first real test as the new Speaker of the House. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today it is time that we talk about the chaos that is unfolding on Capitol Hill, because everyone, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson has his first real test of his new speakership, as in less than a week, we are potentially going to see the government shut down. And he's been trying to put together some kind of package, some kind of deal to avoid that. And there's been many questions about, can this pass? Will this fail? Will Democrats support it? Will the Republican Party be pissed at him? All that stuff. And it's time we discuss it because we are getting close to the deadline. We're less than a week away. But first, before I continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Guys, just for $1 a month, you could join Real American. This is the best way to support the daily content that we all know and love. So I hope and recommend you join the channel today. Alright, everybody. Now let me be clear. I don't know 100% if this is going to pass or fail. And I don't know if I support it yet. But let's just get into it. Let's read what Mike Johnson is trying to cook up. Alright? Again, I know a little bit, but I just don't know enough. So let's just get into it and see what Johnson has proposed. And again, I understand the basics of it. He's trying to propose technically 2 CRs, but not really. It's weird. This probably explains a lot better. So let's get into it. Mike Johnson is Speaker of the House because Kevin McCarthy pushed through a clean, continuing resolution to avoid a government shutdown and was ousted by right-wingers for it. That's not what really got rid of him. That was the final straw, but him working with Democrats, making backroom deals with them, not breaking all of his promises, etc. That's what caused him to be thrown out. The CR stuff was just a final nail in the coffin. Because, not necessarily that it passed, but how Speaker McCarthy handled himself. Basically telling the House Freedom Caucus to go F themselves. True. He screwed over the House Freedom Caucus. They were pissed at him, and look what happened. It was a final nail in the coffin for McCarthy. Johnson, on the other hand, he doesn't have any, black marks his speakership yet. He doesn't. 40 days later, and Johnson is in the same spot. McCarthy's CR runs out on Friday night, and Johnson has vowed to avoid a government shutdown. His solution? A clean CR. Well, technically one clean CR with 2 timelines. A parliamentary gimmick that Johnson is hoping is enough to get him past the Friday night shutdown. Now, the question for Johnson is whether that's enough to convince the most rebellious House Republicans to offer him any more leeway than they granted McCarthy. I want to see the bill first. Alright? I want to see what is Johnson's plan? Is it more coherent than what McCarthy was trying to pull where, we made Democrats promise us something. If it's something like that, let's not do it. Because Democrats would never agree to that bargain and actually go through with it. Johnson has no legislative experience at this level, has never chaired a committee, and comes from the party's anti-leadership wing that made governing so difficult for his predecessors. In late September, he voted against McCarthy's CR, along with 89 other Republicans. But that CR sucked. Not only did we not get anything, Democrats got quite a bit from everything we know. That's a thing that the media never talks about. It wasn't that nobody got anything. When you read into it and what McCarthy made a deal with Dems about Ukraine aid, Democrats got exactly what they wanted. More aid for Ukraine. And we got nothing. He made a backroom deal with them, and that's why people were pissed off about it. But all of that was a feature, not a bug during the Speaker Battle Royal of October, when his rare combination of right-wing credentials and pissing off the fewest number of colleagues, not serving in top posts, meant never having to tell colleagues no, were the essential criteria. Johnson's CR proposed to surprise Democrats. He conceded two crucial policy points to the opposition. First, there are no spending cuts or poison pill riders in the Johnson CR. And second, Johnson put defense in the portion of the CR with the longer deadline of February 2nd. And this is the part where I think I understand what Johnson is trying to do here. I think he's trying to say, okay, we're going to keep the government funded, but we're going to have other stuff in February, like the main stuff like defense, whatever. I think that's what he's trying to do here and say, look, I just became the Speaker of the House. Let's just say for now, things stay the same, but we have to pass a separate one in January or something. Well, let's read what it says in, I don't know yet. Democrats would have dismissed out of hand a CR with the kind of steep cuts and right-wing policy changes that many members of the Freedom Caucus have been demanding. They were also worried that defense spending was part of the earlier deadline, when they were being set up for a vote for GOP spending priorities before the top spending priorities of Democrats. But it's the earlier deadline of January 19th that includes many Dem priorities such as agriculture, energy and water, military construction, the VA, and transportation. This explains a surprisingly open-minded response from Senate Democrat aide yesterday. It's a good thing the Speaker didn't include the unnecessary cuts and kept defense spending with the second group of programs. So this is what I think he's trying to do. Like I said, he's trying to offer Dems an olive branch and say, let's make a deal. We get something, and you get something. We want something with defense spending, something with the border or something. And you get agriculture, I guess, or energy. That's what I think he's trying to do here. Say, we get something, and you get something. And today, Senator Chris Murphy was similarly chilled about the idea during an appearance on NBC's Meet the Press. I don't like the latter CR approach. It looks gimmicky to me, but I'm open to what the House is talking about. The priority has to be keeping the government open. And I think this is a moment where reasonable people in the Senate, and that's where most of the reasonable people are these days, have to make sure that we are not making the perfect enemy of the good. I don't like what the House is talking about, but I'm willing to listen. That's what I think he's trying to do, Johnson. I don't think, he exactly wants this, but we're in a position where we're not going to get everything we want. I never said that. And people need to understand, the reason people are mad at McCarthy was we got nothing. Absolutely nothing in his deals with Democrats. Democrats got everything they wanted. So Johnson actually says right here what his strategy is. Johnson was blunt about his strategy during a call with Republicans yesterday afternoon when he outlined the plan, per the Washington Examiner. He also addressed likely opposition, saying he knows that not loading this one up with spending cuts and policy riders is a great disappointment to some people, and that he would like to see those himself. But he did not think if they made those cuts and attached to policy riders, the bill could get 217 votes on our side. And if we were to add those provisions, you're not getting a single Democrat vote. And he's not wrong. That's why people say, oh, McCarthy, the original CR was so good. That thing was never going to pass. Like, oh, I'm sure the 15% spending cuts was going to pass. And when you really look at it, it wasn't 15% or whatever it was. But the problem with the McCarthy's thing was everybody knew it wasn't going to pass. It's like, why propose it then? If you know it's going to fail. Because he's trying to save face and say, well, I tried. Well, and people are asking, you may be asking yourselves, what would House conservatives get out of this? And they actually say process. They would get the double deadline idea that came out of the House Freedom Caucus, but not the House Freedom Caucus's cuts and riders. They would get a reprieve from what has become an annual ritual of the holiday season that they have been railing against. getting jammed with an omnibus bill from the Senate at Christmas. And they would also get a separate debate on the supplemental aid for Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan, which is not part of the CR. And that's the thing. Johnson is, I think, playing a very smart play here. I really think this is the best course of action. We're not going to get everything they want. You're never going to get that. But if you can make a deal and say, we get something with spending, you get something with spending, meet in the middle. That could be a benefit. We could finally get something we've wanted. Something with defense spending, something with maybe the border. But I also like that they're not including aid for Israel, Ukraine, or Taiwan. Make it a separate thing. Now, the White House is not on board, which seems odd considering the Senate Democrats are willing to listen. Instead of pocketing the victory of Johnson, keeping spending levels at Pelosi-era levels, and not including defense spending the first deadline, a White House statement raged. House Republicans are wasting precious time with an unserious proposal that has been panned by members of both parties, and said that a shutdown would put critical national security and domestic priorities at risk, including by forcing service members to work without pay. This is why else to support it. Democrats, I guess the White House only, they're against this for whatever reason. It's like, wait. If this is a slam dunk for Democrats, you would think they would be vehemently opposed to it. Or you would think they'd be 100% on board with it. Like they were for McCarthy's deal. Not here. There's some Democrat resistance. This is, I think, a very good idea by Johnson. I think I understand that he's trying to say, look, we're not going to get everything, but would you much rather have us get some wins or no wins like we did with McCarthy? I would 100% take a couple wins here and there. Than not only no wins, but a bunch of defeats to Democrats. And, hey, we just got to see what happens, but I can understand why people are not happy about this. But the way Johnson is doing it, it's much smarter, makes much more sense than whatever McCarthy was trying to do. We just got to see how this looks, but overall, I like the idea, I like the concept, but we just got to see. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Thank you so much. Godspeed to all of you.